Happy holidays, Mickey. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing okay. We're making it through the holidays. A little nasally, so I hope it doesn't annoy you as much as it's annoying myself. But you had to enjoy yesterday.
We extended the holiday because I stayed behind here in Washington, D.C. To kind of enjoy one day of holiday anyway after we worked yesterday.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, at least you get to enjoy it in the Capitol. Hopefully the weather's okay. How much fun was it yesterday?
Not.
It's not? It sucks up there?
It's like 30 degrees, and it's kind of it's not snowing, it's not raining, but it's kind of misting right now.
It's 76 here. It's crazy.
I just said, when we were walking here, I said, why do people live here? It's cold. I'm actually standing outside right now in front of the White House.
Well,
what a flex.
All right.
That's awesome.
But anyway, we need to talk football.
Yeah. Hey, look, we just talked to Jerry, and it's so easy for all of us to kind of play sports and be like, well, this is what I would do, But at the end of the day, this is their job. This is what they get paid for. Dak is having such an unbelievable season. He's got a shot at the passing title. He wants to play next week, and you totally expect that. But, the human element is, but you don't want to risk him, too, being injured going into next year. How do you look at the decision on what to do with Dak and some other starters?
Yeah, since you're factoring in that he got sacked 6 times and hit like another
11.
dozen times in the game, 11. I think what I would do, but here's the deal. You got to prepare the backup quarterback, right? You got to prepare Joe Milton if he's going to play. So that's got to be a decision made on Monday. This week, it would have been so unfair to start Joe Milton because they never really practiced. I think Schottenheimer said they had like 6 to 8 full speed snaps on Tuesday. They had a walkthrough on Monday. Basically, you left on Wednesday, so it was another walkthrough. So how unfair would it be to send Milton out there this Christmas Day with no preparation whatsoever? And I think everybody needs to understand that the backup quarterback basically gets no snaps with the first-team offense during the week. They get the scout team offenses. So to me, you would have sent a quarterback out there ill-prepared, probably had hardly any snaps with the first-team offense since the end of training camp, to go out there and say, okay, big boy, let me see what you can do, right? So that part of it would have been unfair. Now, going forward, I could see maybe starting Dak and allowing him to play the first quarter, second quarter, see how things go, and then maybe go to Joe Milton. But I think they're still feeling like it's important to be able to win this game and not finish with a losing season, to have something to build on going into next year.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys in that locker room that are going to be fighting to play, especially with how the offense looked yesterday. It was actually fun to watch. It was a little up and down for Dak, but one of my favorite numbers out of this, Mickey, 6 of 6 on 4th down, and I think Brian Schottenheimer took a bit of a step forward in his offensive play calling. What did you think of his game calling the plays for the offense?
Yeah, I think that, they weren't very good on 3rd downs, which forced them to go for it on 4th down. And the fact that they went 6 for 6, yeah, you're exactly right. Because if you look at Dak's kind of raw numbers and say, well, he only completed about 50% of his passes, he wasn't that good. And then you look down where the yardage is, and he threw for 300 yards again. And converted, he was in charge when they converted 6 of 6 4th down. So, yeah, I think we were all reminded, and everybody else reminded, of how dynamic this offense really can be. scoring 30 points once again, and enabling them to outscore a defense that, again, I know they only gave up 23 points, but it was kind of a shaky 23 points when you see a guy run untouched 72 yards for a touchdown, right? So, but this offense has mostly been consistent all season long, and it was a good thing they were, again, Christmas Day. Otherwise, they very well could have lost that game.
Yeah, we just spoke with Jerry and asked him specifically if he's, pleased with, the scheme that he's had on defense, the coaching staff, and he was pretty definitive. He said, no, not at all. I've got a lot of work to do over there. What do you think is going to be next for this defense?
Get some players. Everybody talks about scheme. Okay, scheme this, scheme that, but who's running the scheme? And I think that's one of the things that's got to improve. The linebackers, you're playing a raw rookie at linebacker with Shamar James, and he made some plays, but he missed some plays too, just because of his, I think, inexperience. And they still gave up. I know half the 150 some yards they gave up rushing was the one run. But if you take that one run away, they were pretty good defensively, right? So that's the hard thing to understand, what went wrong on one run. So again, it's got to be players. I mean, what scheme do you want to play? Do you want to play man? They were playing man in the secondary and getting beat. You want to play zone? They were getting beat playing zone. It's who's getting beat. You're without Deron Bland. Trayvon Diggs is a shell of himself. Who goes out and gets flagged for a horse collar tackle when you didn't tackle the guy, right? He tried.
I know.
And so that tells you where he's at right now. I think we worry about scheme. I worry about who's playing the scheme.
Well, Mickey, the good news is somebody who didn't get beat yesterday, Logan Wilson, because he didn't play.
He's the only guy other than Milton that didn't play. So they're playing everybody. When you guys, not you guys, but people are saying, well, you got to just play the backups. Well, they are playing the backups. Everybody's playing. And so I don't know. And then again, so if you don't play, say you don't play Dak, are you playing the offensive lineman too? Because then it wouldn't be fair to Joe Milton. You got to play the wide receivers, or it wouldn't be fair to Joe Milton. Otherwise, it's basically a preseason game if you pull everybody else back if you're not playing Dak. And there's only so many guys you can pull back, as we saw, because everybody's playing anyway.
Well, on that note, speaking of people who are potentially a little dinged up and whatnot, and looking at some of the backups, we saw a lot of Malik Davis yesterday because Javonte re-aggravated that shoulder. Are you in the boat where you would say go ahead and sit this last game out for Javonte and let Malik Davis and maybe some Phil Maffa or Jaden Blue get some action? Because I don't want to risk any further damage to my bell cow running back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. If he's still banged up, and you saw that they were kind of regulating his snaps early before he hurt it, and then they said, no, you're done. Because Davis was getting, a series here and a series there. And, and I can see doing that. And, and that shows you the other part about this offense is they sent in their backup running back, and he goes for season-high 103 yards rushing. That, again, speaks volumes of how good this offense is and can be going forward.
It has been an incredible year offensively. I mean, is this the best you've ever seen Dak?
I've seen him play awfully well. I always remember the 2023 season when he was runner-up for NFL Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. So he was really, really good. I thought short of this game, his accuracy has been phenomenal. his ability to not only throw the ball, but you see when he needed to run, he ran, and that one time he put a move on a guy to pick up the first down. I think he's been really, really good, and today more so than anything, he was clutch in very tight situations. So. I think that he has played awfully well. And I use this note, and it just keeps reminding me of before the season started, NFL.com polled the players for their top 100 players in the league. And Dak came in 79th. And he was the 13th of 14 quarterbacks in the top 100. So that kind of tells you what players know about the talent they're up against.
Are you doing the tour today in the White House?
I'm just walking. I'm just sitting here watching all the people, and they're actually playing, I think it sounds like Christmas carols. But this, I can't tell you how much this has changed. And, I've been to the White House many, many times and, several years ago, but there are more fences and gates and security than you've ever seen before.
Yeah, is the construction still going on? Aren't they doing construction on the?
Looks like, the East Wing. Which I'm not sure which wing I'm supposed to be looking for, but there seems to be an empty spot on one end of it, and I see some stuff covered up with. I don't know what it is, but anyway, I saw people walking on the roof, and I said, oh, no, they got security up there, but it looked like they were construction workers up there.
Yeah, well, be careful. Don't piss off security, okay?
Yeah, right. That's the last thing I want to do. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, enjoy what's left of your holiday, and we'll look forward to hearing from you next week.
All right, I'll be ready to go on Monday to finish out this season.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mickey. Take care.